Hello and welcome to Connect. I'm your host, Randy Shabilo. Today we'll have Dr. Jonathan Hauck talking about podiatry and foot care, as well as the publisher of Flow magazine and business consultant Paul Miazga. And as always, we'd like to connect with you. Tweet us at connect_YXE, follow us on Facebook to watch new and past interviews, or email us at connectyxe@gmail.com. Podiatry and foot care is something that many people don't take to heart unless it happens to you, that something greatly diminishes the ability to get around. And I've invited Dr. Jonathan Hauck to come and talk today a little bit about foot care and podiatry and that world. Dr. Hauck, thank you for making some time.
Yeah, thanks you for this opportunity.
I want to talk a little bit about yourself and podiatry in general. We spoke earlier about, the issues around foot care and some things that people can do, but maybe a little bit about you and how you came to be in this role that you're in today. Are you from the city, and where have you been?
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Saskatoon. The biggest thing about, I guess, my background is my great uncle was a cobbler in Regina, and had influence from the orthopedic surgeon, and in lots of referrals from them as well. So we did lots of different interventions for shoes. Based upon that, that's where my father found his interest in podiatry as well. And so he went to England and did his training there as well. And so based upon that history in the family, it was kind of a step that I chose to move forward with because of the opportunity that was there. So I went to the University of Brighton in the south of England. Just got back in June in the province and got my license in July to practice. And so it was a really great opportunity. Podiatry is a lot more integrated in the healthcare system there. There's podiatry in the hospitals and in the community. And so that was an eye-opening experience to bring back and use my experience here in my father's practice after joining him. So he's been doing it for about 42 years now. And so his clinical experience is quite extensive, and to have that to bounce off ideas and in the practice is quite an opportunity in itself. And so I've been practicing for approximately 6 months now, and it's been a great experience so far, meeting new people and finding out how I can help them on a day-to-day basis is really, really satisfying.
I think it's a valuable service in that sense. When we talk about some of the issues that people might experience, you would maybe typically affiliate being a senior citizen or someone elderly with some need of foot care, but it can happen in earlier stages of someone's life if there's an accident or things like that. What type of situations would you come across on a regular basis in your work?
So the individuals who come into our office are from pretty much can start from birth all the way to the elderly. We deal with all walks of individuals, all kinds of ailments, from the simple complaint of stubbing a toe to the diabetic wound care. The extent of our of the coverage of treatment and management is quite broad, and so we don't really have any specific day-to-day regular schedule because it just depends on who's coming through that door. It could be anyone that has a musculoskeletal issue who needs to be braced or treated in that respect, to individuals who've had previous accidents like you've mentioned and who have complications due to the anatomy that they have as well, right? And so it's hard to gauge the type of person because everyone has feet, and most people eventually will have some type of issue based upon their activity levels, based upon their sporting engagement, based upon also their work as well. So it's a big factor to consider, but we don't have any specific age range that come into the clinic. It's almost everyone and anyone.
Wide and varied.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned the University of Brighton in southern England. Is there a particular reason that is a sought-after school of learning this trade, or what made you go there?
The application process for UK universities is one system, and then you choose a few different choices based on that. So I did actually get accepted to a few locations, but the University of Brighton owns their own podiatry hospital within the Eastbourne, which is a neighboring city. And so the clinical aspect was pretty much my main attraction to that university, because they have a direct referral system in the community and through the NHS as well. So the actual amount of patient contact time was a great opportunity from my perspective, because to me, that's how I learn the most, is actually having that one-on-one experience with the patient compared to a lecture type engagement. So
Yeah, it's more to learn from people than there is a mannequin or
correct, yeah.
prosthetics and so on.
Yeah.
And I know from some of our work that we've done with the Shriners and patient mobility and so on, do you work with prosthetics at all, or people that just have difficulty in getting around, maybe with the amputation of a foot or something like that?
Yeah, we see many individuals who actually have sometimes half a foot, half a leg, sometimes no legs as well. It just depends on, usually historically speaking, we get those referred into us just for helping them manage with the one limb or whatever kind of prosthetic adjustment that can be made as well, because it does add a lot of strain to the other structures within the system when we only have that one limb taking all the weight of our body, because it takes about 2.5 times our weight each step we take is the pressure that gets put through. So imagine if we're only putting pressure through one leg, that's a lot of weight, right? So the actual engagement with those individuals usually, like I said, is through the referral system, and then we can obviously put through the referrals to the right individuals to help them as well.
You gave me a statistic a while ago about the amount of pressure put on the foot over the course of a day or number of days, and it's not anything small, but very significant in terms of if you accumulated that amount of weight that we carry and impose pressure on the feet. Is there a number that you would use as a guide for kind of extrapolating how many pounds of pressure are put on the feet?
Yeah, so based on recent research, the average range of pressure is every 1 pound of weight we have on our body, we put 7 pounds of pressure through the foot. So every step we take is quite extensive, the amount of pressure, right? So that goes to show how much we rely on our feet and how much the connection between the environment and our feet are made, right? So usually an individual who's working on a concrete floor in a work boot on a day-to-day basis is going to be putting a lot more strain on that structure compared to an individual who's a little bit more sedentary.
Does it matter if that's an employment issue? What about sporting? If it's cross-country running or maybe cycling even, there's a lot of mobility issues and flexibility that comes with that. Do you help people that are training or have injuries as a result of sporting type of injuries?
Yeah, we see lots of people who do just the average daily walking at the track and field, for example, compared to we have marathon runners who come through our door as well. And so we can help them guide themselves in a bit of dynamic rehab, and especially if there's some alignment concerns or if there's some previous injury concerns as well. So there's a big push towards making sure that their posture and that they're not doing further damage by their activity levels is maintained through kind of our intervention. So we help them either through orthotic management or just making sure that they are not compensating in any ways. That's a very big push we got lots of individuals in the sporting area for sure.
I can imagine if one foot is injured, you'd try and compensate, or the other leg would have to, do some overtime in terms of carrying that load. Is it a repeat visit type of treatment that you do, or what would happen with someone? You mentioned the diabetic instance where there are treatments that you would do for people with that type of ailment. Is that a repeat type of business, or is it a referral from your family physician to you?
Yeah, there's no need for a referral for our services. We do see diabetic wounds that require further management or require the follow-up. Sometimes that is pushed into the debridement clinic at the hospital system, but then for individuals who are ongoing in their sporting activities, such as marathon runners, they usually come to us every 6 months just to keep updated, to make sure nothing needs to be adjusted or anything can be changed. So sometimes it's hard to justify saying 50% are one-off appointments, but I would say that's an average. Some individuals are just a one-time thing and then they're good to go. So it just depends on really their day-to-day activity levels. Usually their occupation is a big factor, and obviously their involvement in any sporting activities is a big factor as well.
You mentioned footwear on a concrete floor for some of us who work on concrete. Just a loose question, I guess. We always hear about people that might wear high heels. Does that impact the way that the foot and the leg and the body, the back, with a high heel and the type of footwear that's chosen?
Yeah, so the actual Achilles tendon is relaxed at that point. So over time, you're actually not using the foot as it should, and you're putting a lot of pressure on the forefoot. Usually a high heel has a tighter toe box as well, so you're applying a lot more pressure in areas that shouldn't have any pressure on the foot itself. So not to say to shy away from high heels, because obviously fashion over function is a huge factor, but the fact that they do alter the way the pressure is distributed in the foot over time can cause some major concerns, and can also cause some major deformities if it leads up to that as well.
Is it a concern when you see someone doing something they shouldn't be doing, and I guess making a recommendation to try and guide them in terms of what they choose for footwear so they don't come back?
That's a big factor as well, because that's probably one of the main questions that's asked as well every day, is what type of shoe should I purchase? But every foot is different, so it's hard to say that you have to go down this route to buy this type of shoe. There's always individuals who say, oh, I know this shoe is bad for me, but I'm still going to wear it. So that's the factor between fashion and function. It's hard to advise someone if they're not going to be compliant, because we're there to advise and give you all the information you need, but then it's really the choice is up to you to make the decision.
Right. Yeah. Just to close this out, someone did have a question specifically about podiatry and their foot care. How would they get a hold of you?
So we are on Queen Street, just across from City Hospital. Our phone number is 306-653-4151. There are approximately only 20 podiatrists in the province at the moment. But at the Saskatoon Podiatry Association website, you can find the full list of podiatrists available throughout the cities in Saskatchewan. And based upon that, there's a lot more information on the website about who's available.
Perfect. Yep. I want to thank you for making some time today, and hopefully we may not see you on a professional level.
Thank you.
Good. Stay with us. We're coming right back.